We're chasing comedy, working on jokes, working on bits, seeing what sticks, seeing what stinks. We're Brian and Dustin, and we're chasing comedy.
We were just talking about the AI technology of being able to put in like somebody's bit they've already done. Let's say you do like the Richard Pryor cocaine heart attack bit, and then some. I would love to see what they do with that. Like that's enough. I want to see that.
We should do that.
Yeah,
that's really funny. Like the dog story. Okay,
or
I want
whatever. He was putting in Stephen Wright jokes, and he said they rewrote Stephen Wright jokes. So it's like that's probably easier. But yeah, I would like to see what people do, or what the AI does.
But this is the thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but it's like comedy is it's not scientific. Like even music, they teach music theory, right? Like there's a mathematics to it that is like provable, repeatable, etc. Chromatic scales, etc. And like Philip Glass has dissonant notes and stuff like that. So the things that don't follow the pattern are like, okay, that's this. Comedy is, and I maybe it's because I love it so much and I'm into it that I want to believe AI can't do it. But I actually believe there's a uniqueness to comedy that is so inexplicable because I can't explain it to anybody. Whereas a music theorist can teach a class. And you can teach a class in stand-up, but for the most part, half the time, you and I can talk to each other and go, I don't know what the hell, why that's funny.
Why it doesn't work and it's hilarious.
Yeah. That's that. Yes. Even a better example is why something isn't funny when it should be funny. I
could chime in a minute. I think, there is some sort of rhythmic detail to comedy. That's why you write in threes. You say a whole bunch of things in a row. People laugh at the last thing. Like there are things you can do that, or a standard kind of rhythmic ways of doing stand-up. But I think the reason that stand-up is different is the audiences or it's just you don't know what you're getting with the comedy audience. Whereas a musical audience, people are going out to see a particular composer, musician. There's an idea of how the audience responds to that. And even with a popular comedian that they're coming out to see. But when you're just grabbing a mic, they don't know you. All mathematics of comedy, all rules of three, all whatever, it goes out the window if it's a certain crowd that's not feeling it. So I think it has to do with the audience. The audience is what's the most different part of us being the artist. We're doing similar things that other artists are doing. It's just the audiences are a fucking, you don't know what you're getting.
Now, okay, so you're talking about, but this is interesting because you're talking specifically about the interactive live performance of a stand-up comedian and audience. Whereas, but musicians go on tour. They perform for audiences. I guess you're saying that, but that's
the audiences are different. The audience is completely different than a music
in
audience.
comedy.
In comedy,
right.
Comedy audiences, it's just a lot of them never seen it before. A lot of them have an idea, especially now they think they can yell stuff out because of the internet. Like, they want a crowd work experience as opposed to listening. They don't have patience for a story. Like there's certain things that, you're just at the mercy of an audience. And so where I feel is with music, it's like you play a love song, pretty much same reaction every time. It's like you play a rock and roll dancey song, pretty much same reaction every time. Bruce Springsteen plays Born to Run, pretty much same reaction every time. But a comic, and that is only because they know him. And so I feel like it's probably, I think it just really comes down if they know you or not, whether you're going to have a good set or if they like you, if they're fans. And, the whole thing is just different. I think a lot of times we're just doing, a comedy club that people don't know us, or a comedy audience. Like I've been doing boats, and it's like they don't know who you are. So there's no love automatic there. Like when a musician has a love that's automatic, they can do anything. They can try that new song. Sometimes they don't like it, the audience, Well, John Mellencamp, he's not happy about people not liking the new stuff.
Well, we could. I mean, because those artists oftentimes do then try to shoehorn in some new bit or a new album that they put out, some that aren't as popular as some of their older stuff that people
yeah, but
don't
there's
necessarily
many times that I do a joke that I know is perfect. I know the structure of it. It gets a laugh every 95% of the time. I'm only using it because of that. And sometimes that joke won't work in an audience that's just not feeling the material or whatever. And it drives me crazy. But sometimes the stuff that we know works all the time doesn't always work. Where I think musicians is different.
Yeah, and what's funny is that by its very nature, AI has to be a hack comic. Like that's the thing that by
for
its
now.
by
For now,
no, not by, no.
I just watched Blade Runner on the plane. For now,
no. What I'm saying
I think
is,
eventually they can get all those feelings and techniques of the human.
No, I don't think so because
you don't know that. Did you think you'd be talking into your phone and it would just do things for you? You never thought that when you were ninth grade.
No, but what I'm saying is that if we can't program something because we don't understand something, and the rules that you're saying about rules of three, those are incredibly fungible, very amorphous rules because I break them all the time. Great comics break them all the time and are able to do that. I'm not saying AI won't get better at doing an ersatz simulacrum of stand-up. And I'm not even saying that. I'm talking from my own feelings of bewilderment about the art form. meaning that I'll write something that I think is so funny and won't get anything. And then I'll blurt out something on stage that gets this enormous laugh that I have no idea why. I can't teach. And there are people teaching comedy. There's no way AI will be able to say why be your own barista. I didn't know it was be your own barista day at Starbucks, which I thought was really funny and gets nothing, right? But if I say, I'll just have the swordfish then. That gets a Titanic laugh every night, consistently 100%. And be your own barista. Now, obviously, swordfish is funnier. It's a little wackier. I know that's not a great example. But my point being that I can't explain it on a bar graph or tell anyone. I can just hear it lyrically in my head and go, that's funny and that isn't. But then I go, that's funny and it isn't.
If AI figures out how to be likable, then we're in trouble because I feel likability on stage trumps technique. That's why Kevin Hart has a career. That's why so many, Matt Rife, likability will trump great jokes any day of the week. Yeah. And if you're a likable comic with great jokes, you're hosting the Emmys or you pop off. And so, but I feel that's the key is combining the two because I'm very unlikable. And so I feel like I'm always struggling with likability on stage.
All right. So you're actually, diagnosing your own comedic issue.
Absolutely. Because I'll see
now, why is that?
I don't know. I feel like comedy, it takes me a second to enjoy it. And so there's a little bit of that buffer that happens in the beginning. So, but I can fix it if I do some sort of interaction, if I, maybe go into a bit that's very about me and my mood of who I am or something. Maybe I can pull it off. Obviously, professional comedians, that's what we do. But I do feel sometimes I don't want to tap dance for it. And then you just kind of got to go along with the ride. And sometimes they just you're not fun enough to talk about these things. And so it's just a weird thing I struggle with.
Yeah.
I'm not a big comic where I'm like, hey everybody, woo! I'm not that guy.
Well, maybe you associate likability with something that you don't like. You know what I mean? Meaning that possibly. You associate if someone is likable.
Yeah,
they're selling out or they're phony or
us. A lot of people don't like us, but we like each other. I like who you are. Some people. Oh, I've talked to a few people. Some people don't like you.
Wait a minute. How come? What about Adam? How come? Why are we not trashing Adam?
How can you not like Adam? Adam is the most.
Everyone
neutral.
likes Adam. That's the universal.
Yeah, because he doesn't say too much. He's there when he does say something. It's funny. He's been to a lot of concerts. Right. He's got information. We like a guy like Adam, but comics, it could just be when an audience member comes up to you and says something about a bit you did about the no arms or something. It's just like I think if they like you enough, they let you get away with the no arms bit. It's like when they don't connect to you, they don't like you as a person, then they take that too serious. Like with me, it's like if I do a joke about race or something and they don't like me, they think I'm a racist. If they like me, they think it's hilarious. And so it just really depends on and you're right. Everything you're saying is 100% right. I'm not trying to debate you. I'm just trying to tell you how I feel about it. But I do feel there's different components to stand up than, like you said, like a perfect song is different than a perfect joke because, I think it has a lot to do with the audience. I think,
and I think you're a racist regardless.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm friends with you, so that makes sense. Like you hide behind this liberal flag, but we all know. I know the real Brian. I don't even put Scott in it. I just know Brian McFadden and that guy.
I have a Gadsden flag. I have several different flags in my whatever works. I'm like
whatever.
No, works. But my point being that the thing about the AI thing is just like we always used to, what hack when we were coming up, and you would roll your eyes when someone would do a Gilligan's Island, let's say, joke, even though I was writing one a week ago. But here's the point, right? But I mean, it was. I mean, give me a few that. One of my all-time favorites is disposable douche commercials. Remember there was that was a very big one with comics for a while. There was like a commercial that said, and the new Massengill disposable douche. And then 78 comedians, were doing none of them good would always go, a disposable douche. Who's saving these things? Like who's got a collection of them on their mantle? Yeah, that one's from '86. That's a
I mean, a lot of great. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, but my point being that by its very nature, when you're scraping other people's material and then you're rejiggering it, that is the definition of hack. Well, you're not talking about your own individual experience.
That's the thing is like there's not one way to describe what hack is or what is good comedy and bad comedy. Mm-hmm. Patrice said no rhythm is good comedy. Like when you're not trying to do a ta-ra, here's the punchline. Like that's what he said. Whereas recently Mark Maron said when you're like punching down on something that's, like goes against, trans or people or like something that's affecting people and they, they feel like you're punching down is hack or whatever. So people have their own version of what that is. Sometimes I do punch down. Sometimes, I do little people jokes. Hey, yo. So, I feel like there's no right answer to what it makes somebody a bad comic, but what makes someone a good comic, there's no right answer for that either. So, because it's like you could say, hey, if you're like Bill Hicks or hey, you're like Stephen Wright, two completely different comics. And so there's no way to do it except be yourself. And they may like yourself and they may not. And you just
because your experience, no AI is going to write about you and your dad.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it's not. There's
and
no
that's
way
the stuff that probably works the least. And so that's the thing. And that is my most interesting stuff because I did 12 shows on the boat. And it was the club shows. And then I did the theater show. And during the club shows, I just did like club sets. Went pretty well. Some audiences were just horrible and some were great. And then the theater show, I did stories and stuff like that. And I think I have to get better at not feeling self-conscious that I'm not banging out right now. And I'm telling something that's real. And that's a struggle that I have where it's like I'm about to go into something. And sometimes they feel sorry for you when you tell them your dad got arrested on family vacation. And sometimes they think it's hilarious. And that's what I'm talking about with the audience. It's like sometimes they can take the darkness and make it turn into something that makes them laugh. Or they just like respond how they would at a dinner party if you told somebody your dad your arrested. So it's like,
your dad,
I think it's hilarious either way, but audiences don't always think that way.
Yeah, AI is not going to be able to tell a story about how their dad didn't talk to them.
We might try that. We might try that later.
Adam, get on that.
I want you to for later in the show, if you could put in going on family vacation with the going to Mexico, buying switchblades, getting pulled over by a cop, mom and dad switching seats in the middle of the highway, and then cop because I'm working on this punch I can't get, and then when the cop pulls my mom over after he saw my dad driving, he says blank, and I try.
Wait, hold on. Oh, they switch seats, right?
Yeah, while they were driving down the road, because my dad had a warrant out for his arrest.
I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
and he says what? Oh, you want the cop to say what?
Yeah, I want the cop. I'm curious what AI says because I can't think of a line. I think we tried this a couple of times. I couldn't. And this last time I said I worked with DC Benny a little bit, and he goes, yeah, maybe say the cop looked at my mom like it was the fastest gender transition he had ever seen, like it was the first one ever. And I tried that, and it was like, what? The audience like, what? So,
yeah. Did you do that?
I did. I mean, I thought it was kind of funny, but it was, whatever. It's like, but then it was just the punchline is me and my brothers were in the back. We had these switchblades, and we're like, we came together as brothers. Like, we're gonna have to take this cop, and that worked pretty good as a punch.
Right.
Brothers about to attack a cop with switchblades. But then again, that's dark.
So the cop sees you. The cop obviously sees your parents switch seats because your dad had a record or whatever. So your mom's driving the car at that point.
Yeah,
and so then the cop meanders over. Takes one look at
my mom in the driver's seat and was like, and my mom's like, "Hey, can I help you, officer?" And then, and then I've had everything from "Really? Are you kidding me?" or whatever. And there's never a line there that I can kind of find.
Something about women drivers. Something about women. Like I don't. I'm trying to think of like, wow. Where he looks at your dad and says, "Women drivers, huh?" Like he's actually talking to your dad. That
goes, might be a different approach. That might work. I'll try anything at this point.
I'm looking for angles here that something that might branch off. That's not particularly great, but it's on its way to something.
It might be better than transgender. So that didn't seem to land like I wanted it to.
Yeah. Or your dad looks at the cop and goes, "Women drivers, huh?" Like
that's
you know what I mean?
There it is. I think that's probably closer to it. And then
he looks at my dad and I go, "Women drivers, huh?"
Oh, there you go. Hey, that's actually awesome. I think that works because that's funny that my dad would just act like that would be his denial of like, what are you talking about? Women drivers, am I right? I told her to slow down. Perfect.
And the cop actually buys it. Like he's bonding with your dad almost. Like I mean, the more important thing is that you got the joke, but it's like and the cop was like, "Yeah, women drivers."
Then he arrests my father. Like that'd be funny, almost like he's buying it, but then he arrests my father. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So he's got my dad in the car. So when we were getting bail money for my dad,
that's funny. Like you almost you fast forward to that. We're getting bail money for my dad. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's good. I think that's good. I think that's. I don't know if we solved it, but I think we got closer to it because I feel like that component is my father, but I just didn't think to like it's just sometimes these things are just one little tweak, one little line makes everything come together because
and you have to
because they're on their seats. They're on their seats, and then you're like, if you don't have something that like meets that expectation, then you're just like, anyway, it's a true story, so they're not supposed to be funny. And that's how we think as comics. Like, well, it just happened, it was real, it's true. And then you start doing all that. I mean, it was just a real story, it was true. You overdo that.
And if you take an audience on that journey, you really need that. You really need that payoff. But you have to nail it. You have to nail it like where the cop looks at my dad and you don't know. And so there's a moment of tension, I'm not sure.
My dad looks at my mom and then he looks at my dad and then my dad says, "Women drivers, am I right?" And then
you don't even have to involve or you could just go, so the cop comes over, he takes one look at he looks at my dad and my dad looks at him and goes, "Women drivers, huh?" Like it has to. I'm not sure exactly, but it's that.
That's in the ballpark. Yeah, I can stumble through that and probably make it work.
Yeah, I don't know what the exact tweak is, but something. The punch is good. Now you just got to get the connective tissue to the punch, and I think that's good. I think that's like
I think the tag punch is like, so we're trying to get bail money from my dad, or he pulls my dad out. I like him pulling my dad out because then I could do the switchblade punch.
Right.
So
right.
That doesn't hit real hard, but I think it's funny.
Right. So he's cuffing my dad.
There you go.
Cuffing is funny.
Cuffing. So he's cuffing my dad. And then we're in the back going, are we gonna have to take this cop? Yeah, I think that works.
Right. Yeah, that's even funnier that oh man, I wish there was another where you're basically playing musical chairs. Now your dad's out of the car. Now by that you're driving the car at this point. Like it keeps moving. The hierarchy keeps moving, and then you keep getting arrested, and someone new gets arrested.
So I'm 11. I'm driving everybody home, and
exactly. That's really funny.
So I drive to the police station because my mom actually.
So
my
I'm
mom
11,
got arrested too. She had record. She had a record.
And the irony, or the ironic thing is like because my dad. I'm driving the car and I'm 11 and I'm now driving the car, which is even more of a violation. You know, like there's something fun, like the cop arresting you, which forced me to drive home.
Yeah.
And I was 11, you know, like that's kind of.
It's technically my mom committed a crime. So, you know.
Right.
So,
but there, I don't know, there might be more in there. Probably you got it. But where, you know how like people give kids a gun to shoot somebody because the penalties are lower for minors, you know, like so you can.
So here I was in juvie, and
yeah. Well, no, I mean, but it's that's funny where you know your father gets arrested, then you if you forget about it, it's you got it. I'm just trying to figure out some. I'm now getting too intricate, but I wanted your mom gets arrested down the road, and then a kid, and then you're driving the car. And then there's a fetus driving the car. Like your family is just like somebody. No one's left in the family food chain. You know, the family tree has been.
So my dog's driving the car. And
like, and then you know because your father
I had a juvie record. Yeah, my brothers, we all had juvie records, and then so the dog's driving the car.
That's really funny. Like your father put your mother up to that, and then he gets arrested.
She got in trouble.
She got arrested, or they both got arrested.
They both got arrested.
Then you get pulled over again. Your mom puts you in the seat, okay?
Yeah.
And then she gets arrested, and then you're putting the dog in the seat, and you're in juvie. You know, like that would be really funny. Something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I like the energy of that. It's funny that it creates
top that AI.
Well, I want them to try. I will really want you to try to put that story in there and see.
It's a hack comic. AI will be a hack comic.
That's okay. I'm okay with that. I want to see. I just want. It's our test of like, can they tell a story? Because they can tell like a punchy joke, but can they tell a story about a real thing that happened? And I'm just curious how they would they would approach it.
How could they?
I know they can't, but I still want them to try for the sake of comedy, Brian. It's the show.
Sorry. I'm killing the vibe.
You could do one of your dad's stories. You could do whatever.
Oh, yeah. Let's say, hey, why don't you feed AI?
Hold on. Let's do mine first.
Dad was
mine first.
Wait, hold on. Wait, just let me say one thing.
What?
No, of course. You're going to do yours first. I'm saying after you, tell him to make a joke about my dad being Frankenberry. AI's dad was Frankenberry. Good luck with that, AI. Okay. Although they might come up with a better one than me because I barely ever talk about it. But go ahead.
All right. Are you gonna play it, or we got to read it?
All right. Settle in, folks. Let me tell you a funny story about how my family vacation to Mexico turned into an unexpected knife shopping spree, a high-speed seat switch, and a run-in with the law. So we're all in the car. Dad's driving. Mom's trying to navigate. My brother and I are in the back seat arguing over who gets the window view. Standard family road trip stuff, right? Pause. Wrong. We cross the border and first stop. Naturally, we all buy switchblades. Why? Because when you're on vacation, you buy the things you can't possibly need. It's like a universal truth. Some people buy magnets, some buy t-shirts, we buy switchblades. Fast forward a bit, we're cruising down the highway. Dad's going a little too fast. Mom's nagging him to slow down. But my dad, he's as stubborn as a mule trying to win a karaoke contest. Pause. Don't ask me where that analogy came from. But anyway, we see those flashing blue lights, and Dad's face turns a color I can only describe as illegal switchblade red. In a classic dad move, he decides it's the perfect time to play musical chairs while going 80 miles per hour. One hand on the wheel, the other trying to shove Mom into the driver's seat. I'm thinking, Dad, this is not the time to prove you're a reckless multitasker. Now, my mom, she's a saint. But a coordinated saint she is not. So there's Dad trying to switch seats with Mom. Mom attempting to become a contortionist. And my brother and I in the back, wondering if we should start selling tickets for this circus of a car ride. But here's the kicker. The cop finally gets to the window, looks at my mom, who's now sitting in the driver's seat, sweating like a pig running a marathon, and looks at my dad, who's grinning like a kid who just got away with stealing the last piece of cake. The cop asks, "Sir, do you know why I pulled you over?" And my dad, cool as a cucumber, says, "Because you could tell my wife was itching to drive." She gets cranky if she doesn't.
I'm not gonna lie, a lot of that was good.
Yeah, there were some good lines in there.
Well, the
There were some good lines
energy,
in there.
the man CAI energy is what sells that. Because I don't do it with, I mean, I try to have energy. I just don't, I can't muster up that kind of, I mean, it is kind of like, there's something great about it. You know, what I liked about it was the setup, the switchblade. You kind of intrigue people with this premise of a switchblade, a high-speed chase. You know, that there's something kind of interesting about how he set it up, how AI set that up. And then, you know, I think there's funnier lines than karaoke donkey and all that. But there is something funny about this kind of like contortionist is funny. Like that's a line I didn't think of. You know, it's not terrible. It's, you know, it's about 62% of something that.
No, he even used the musical chairs line that I threw out.
Musical chairs. The itching to drive was different than it. I like your line way better, but I feel like it was. Yeah, it wasn't terrible. I'm telling you, that's why this shit's dangerous. But I guess you said you're like, okay, I'm not going to use that per se, but I think the structure of it was pretty.
I want to hear
decent.
those. I want to hear the metaphors again. What he's got like three of them. He's got like a pig sweating or something.
She's sweating like a pig. We're gonna charge tickets to the circus in the car. That wasn't bad.
You don't have to play it again, but if he modulated, if the energy was modulated and it wasn't so high energy the whole time, and he wasn't just screaming, like it would be much more effective. We crossed the border.
Oh, well, that's interesting that you said that, because I thought the energy brought it home a little. You think it'd be better if it was in a more natural tone.
He needs moments of jazz slow down and then to ramp it up. That's what I thought.
I think you could probably put that in there. You could just a slower tone or something. But
yeah. But slower tone. If that was slow down just a bit, because I think it's I'm not listening to you because you're screaming, but I get that. It was effective, but I think if you modulated it, it would be even more effective. Let me say 80 miles an hour, one hand on the wheel, shove mom into the drum. I'm saying, Dad, this is not the time to prove you're a reckless multitasker is very well worded.
Yeah. There's some good lines in here, man.
Attempting to make a contortionist. That's funny. My brother and I in the back wondering if we should start selling tickets to a circus.
I could also say he never spilled his beer. That's kind of funny because people love that kind of stupid stuff. Yeah. And he never spilled his beer because he's a real man or something, you know, something
like pig running a marathon. Hey, Google that. Google like a pig running a marathon, Adam. I want to see if that's like something. I'm sure that's somebody used that. Or do you know why I pulled you on my dad? Because I was itching to drive you. That sucks.
It was probably a political line. It's like a pig running a marathon.
Yeah, while going 80 miles an hour, I try to shove mom. I'm thinking, Dad, not the time to be as a mule trying to win a karaoke contest. What the hell does that even mean?
That was stupid. Yeah, that was the dumb line. But it might be. I think if I take anything from this, what I would take from it, and I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not ashamed to say this. What I will take from it is comparisons to things. I'll do my own. But I do feel that is kind of what I'm missing a little bit, is just like, that's, you know, something like, you know, reckless multitasker, you know, like a pig sweat, you know, something, you know, that's my version of what I see. And like, because sometimes you need when you tell a story, you need little things that compare it to things. And I think that is what I get from this that I'm not doing, that I think is very effective.
Right. And Hold on, I'm Googling like a pig running a marathon.
Yeah.
I
think that might just be one of your lines, AI lines. One of the AI
I honestly never went. Like a pig running a marathon, flying pig, man dressed as a pig run. Well, whatever. There's something like a pig AI says like a pig running a marathon refers to the annual flying pig marathon in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yep.
So it's a thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
That doesn't.
Of course, is a thing. We love watching pigs run. That's what the NFL is about.
Well, yes, you're right.
Offensive line catches a football and tries to run for it is my favorite thing in the world. Watching a guy with a belly try to score a touchdown is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
When a defensive lineman gets the ball, you're like, yes. Watching
Refrigerator Perry, exactly.
Well, how great was that? Watching that guy score was amazing.
Watching those guys lumber. You know what's funny is when the defensive guy picks up the ball and they got those big arms and they're carrying the ball and they're running and the safety or whatever wants the ball because they're fast as hell and they're calling for it. Give it to me, and then the guy will fumble it or something. Like that's the worst when you finally recover a fumble and then you give it right back. That's the worst. Give it to the safety. Give it to the cornerback.
Anybody.
Yeah. Anybody.
So let's do Frankenberry. Let's see what that comes up.
Oh, that'll be funny.
So those of you that haven't listened to the podcast, Brian's father was the voice of Frankenberry.
My father was the voice of Frankenberry cereal. And so and I have not written very many jokes about that, right? Like I know it's going to spit out, my uncle was Boo Berry or Sugar Smacks, or
which is fine. You need a little bit of that. You need a little bit of. You need a little silliness with it. You can't not have a cereal mascot joke and not have a little bit of silliness with it.
Right.
I mean, I think if you take it serious, in some ways, it could be really funny. But I'm just curious what AI comes up with.
Yeah. Like that was, and I have to say I was like, okay, that's not bad.
Captain Crunch is my godfather. I'm sure some of that stuff will come up.
Yeah. What was the prompt? I want to know what the prompt is.
This prompt is, what did I just type in here? I typed in, growing up, my father was the voice of Frankenberry cereal. Or I should just probably put Frankenberry.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
All right, folks. So growing up, my father was the voice of Frankenberry cereal. It's true. It sure was a weird way to kick off a childhood, let me tell you. I mean, every kid's father is their hero, right? My dad was a hot pink monster who sold sugar bombs to kids at 7 a.m. Now, you think having a voice actor for a dad would be pretty cool, right? Oh, it was until you realize he can't turn it off. I mean, imagine sitting down for dinner and hearing, "Pass the peas," in the spirit of Frankenberry. And don't even get me started on my parent-teacher conferences. I would be sitting there in pure terror as my dad would say, "So, Mr. Johnson, I understand Timmy has been very ghoulish in class." As a kid, I used to love watching Saturday morning cartoons with Frankenberry. But then I grew up and realized I was living with him, the breakfast monster who had no off switch. Pause.
Okay, so the thing about living with him, that's actually something I never thought of. It's
we talked about like, because you and I talked about like you getting scolded by a cartoon voice. We explored that because with your voice range, we thought that might be funny.
Absolutely. But the idea that I was watching, that never occurred to me. The idea that I saw the commercials before I knew that was my dad is actually pretty clever, right?
Yeah.
Like I used to love those commercials until I realized I was living with the guy. Like that's really funny. That's really funny, actually. That's really funny. Like I used to love those commercials until I realized I was living with those commercials. Like if you did it right, if you did that thing, I used to love the Frankenberry character until I realized he sired me. You know what I mean? Like he was the guy spanking me or whatever you know what I mean? You know what it's like to be spanked by Frankenberry? That's actually really good.
Yeah, and sugar bombs at 7 a.m. wasn't bad either. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, I kind of,
it wasn't terrible. It was. See, that's the thing. That's the disappointing part of this exercise is sometimes they're like, not too bad.
Yeah.
We're trying to fight against it, and then sometimes they're like, I mean, we're going to give AI the credit it's due. If it's terrible, we will definitely let you know it's terrible. And then when it's like, the idea. Because there's
what
been
I'm
so
trying to
much
figure-
information inputted, and so it's impossible for this thing to be 100% terrible, just because of all the great comedians and all the information about things that have gone into this system, this thing, this eye in the sky or whatever. It's like some of it's going to be okay.
Right. Well, when I said hack, obviously, there's different definitions of the word hack, but what I was talking about more in terms of derivative, meaning it's been done. Okay. Yeah. And so by its very nature, AI is derivative comedy. It's because it's
But what it's doing in this particular scenario is it's taking material that comics have done about serial mascots or whatever, and that's where a lot of the jokes are coming from. But what makes it more original is the fact that it's your dad. And that really hasn't been done. And so, but they're taking the other things that have been done and kind of like morphing it into this bit about it being my dad. But I'm sure there's comics that'll be like, we had these cereals growing up. It's like Sugar Bombs and whatever. I'm sure those lines have been done. And like, a guy, somebody being around somebody who's a voice person who can't turn it off. I'm sure there's a bit about, I met the guy from Captain Crunch, and he's Captain Crunch all the time, and he won't stop and whatever. So all those things morph into this bit about, well, if your dad was that, what would it be like? And so it is interesting that the intelligence can somehow, I'm fascinated by that it's able to kind of like morph it into something that is your story, which is your dad, but then it's also this collection of things that have been said about serial people.
I mean, that would be really funny if somebody actually, had AI write their entire act and just did it, did whatever AI told them to do and went on stage. I mean, there's something like there's something eerily.
I'm sure it's happening.
Oh, I'm sure, of course.
I mean, I'm sure.
But what it is though? It's, they said that, AI is this, and somebody was talking about music and saying it's plagiarism software. That's what AI is. Okay.
Interesting.
And so what this does is you don't want to steal from, let's say, a comic that you really like or something like that. So you have AI muddy the waters and do enough tweaking and yanking of syllabic structures and wording from a bunch of other sources to throw a bunch of stuff in a pot to give you plausible deniability that you actually wrote a joke, right?
Yeah, but take like the Amy Schumer thing that happened when she was having her show, and basically she had these comedy writers, which were just human writers, and they were giving her kind of hack material that she was unaware of, supposedly. And so it was like they were giving bits that had been done by comedians, but she was, just like trusting the comedy writer. So sometimes you can't trust the human writer. And so
but that's an ongoing thing. SNL, Ted Alexandro has had a bit about Zillow or whatever. And they did it on SNL, and Ted wrote a whole thing about it. And there are probably guys who are in the writer's room. Remember Jay Moore's story about stealing from Rick Shapiro. There are guys under pressure to come up with something. They don't have anything. They're online seeing a tweet or a Facebook post or something online that somebody wrote, or whatever. And they go, oh, that'll be good. And if you go on like Twitter or something, you'll see a great joke done by somebody who's not famous and not even like have a following. And you could pretty much like scrape it and go, oh, there's a bunch of stuff on there. It's
I've been at comedy shows where there were writers in the back writing stuff down, and and it was
Is that
thing.
in LA? Is that in
New
LA?
York? In New York, it's happened.
Really?
A few times, yeah. And people are like, "Oh, they write for Chris Rock, or they write for this person, or they write for this," and they're just in the back and they're just scribbling stuff down. And you're like, dude. And so, I've seen them at open mics. I've seen them at real showcase shows. Like, it happens. It's like, it's this thing people don't want to talk about in the comedy writing world, I'm sure. But a lot of that is, and I'm sure it's happened since the beginning of comedy. There's always somebody in the back, that's trying to get ahead off of somebody who's not famous, because they think that's the thing. They think they can get away with it because that person is not a well-known person. And so I think that's where, the darkness of that world comes from, where it's just like, oh, nobody's gonna see this guy. And then and I'm not gonna lie, I've been to open mics before and I don't do it, but I've been like, oh, what I could do with that premise,
Right. Sure.
It's like they're doing it all wrong. And so I get where that instinct comes from. You just have to stop it. And then
I know, and you see stuff. Like I was writing a tilapia joke, about tilapia. You hear a guy say the tilapia are biting, you know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? Hey, the tilapia are really biting today. You know what I mean? I've never seen a tilapia. And I walk into, I think, Broadway Comic Club, and Rogel's doing a bit. I think it's Rogel's doing a bit where he's talking about tilapia. I've never seen it. And I was like, all right, I'm done. I can't do it. I go, I'm not doing it. He's got a fully formed bit, and it's really funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. That one's off. It's like me and Lenny Marcus sometimes think of similar things. We have like a kind of curmudgeonly complaining things, and he and I have like different subway bits that are very similar about the subway. And so if he's on the show, I go, oh, you're doing the subway, your subway thing, because I can't do mine. But we developed them totally different, separately, and then it's not a lot, but it's 1 or 2, 3 jokes or something that. And you can always have that feeling. I don't know if you've had this experience where when you go on stage and do a joke, and it doesn't get the laugh that it usually does, and you go, someone did this earlier, right? I know it. That happens sometimes, and I go, whoa, wait a minute.
I recently
when you're killing, and all of a sudden they're it's not just that they don't laugh; they're offended because they think you're a thief at that point. Like they think, what that guy did, or you didn't realize that someone did the joke earlier, and they go, didn't you see the other guy do that? Like we sit in the back and watch every comedian,
Yeah. That's the thing. I recently worked with a guy, and he had a very similar approach to things I was talking about. And it's just like, and then it's just like, and a lot of those jokes didn't work. And I was just like, and I could just, and that's when thank God you're aware of what the comic before you has done. It's like, but you should watch, I think we a lot of times we don't have time. We're at another show. We're barely getting there for that show. So you miss it most of the time. But if you're up early or you're there at the club early, then I think I always tell the young guys, I go, you got to know kind of what's going on, because if you're doing like your whole bit is on weed and there's a guy, his whole bit's on weed, it's like, you better either reference it or hope that they're okay with hearing more weed jokes. Because a lot of times the audience just gets tapped out. It's not necessarily the joke is that similar. Sometimes it's just the idea of continuation they don't like. So because they're like, okay, we exhausted that. It may be a completely different weed bit, but they feel like they've heard enough. And so it's really this thing that you deal with.
Speaking of which, here's one that I'm so glad that I remembered this, because I was like, oh yeah, this is one I want to bring up on the show. The concept of put your hands together for this next. Okay. There's something about that. It just suddenly clicked with me the other day when they say that all the time in show business. It's a very odd instruction. It's like very specific, and it's like, oh, I didn't know. Okay, like. Well,
it would be funny if you said, "Put your hands together," and then the audience just did this.
Okay.
They didn't
say bang them together.
Yeah,
they didn't say
clap.
bang them together.
We just put them together. Now what? Now what do we
praying.
do?
Okay, now what do we do? But whenever I had. It's almost every intro where they go, put your hands together for the next comedian, Brian Scott McFadden. Yeah. And I want to do a joke about put your hands together, but I don't know what the joke is. It's just it just seems like they're not saying clap, give this guy a round of applause. They say, put your hands together. Now, yes, your thing is funny. There's something funny there. It's not that funny, but it's like, I'd like to see you guys just stand there like this. That would probably get a chuckle, but there's something very funny about, all right, everybody, want you to take your right hand, your left hand, and bang them together rhythmically. Hold on. Bang them together in a rhythmic style to make a thing. Like, there's something very strange about the specificity of that instruction.
I think instruction is the word, because I think it's funny that it's like, ultimately applause should be earned. And we always try to make the audience clap more than they probably want to clap. I mean, sometimes it's like by the end of the show, they've been told to clap so much that I think it's just like for something they may not like. They've been told to clap. And so there's something funny about just, comedy is one of the few things where you feel like you have to instruct them how to do it, where it's like music. They're not like, okay, I need you guys to sway a little bit for this next guy. You're going to enjoy the song or, whatever. And like, there's no, like most art forms don't have such instruction. Like, all right, this play is really sad. I want to make sure you guys cry. Again. Okay. Cry it up. I need you guys to cry it up for this next scene.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of funny. There's there's something funny there. I don't know what it is. It's like, put your hands together. Okay. Let me see. I think I got this. Well, is that what you do? This like something? I don't know. Maybe there's no joke here, but they say it so often that I feel like it needs to be called out, and I haven't heard anybody say anything about it yet.
I think you could. Well, you already do a thing on intros and things, and so I think just like the things that comics say before you get up there, you could kind of intertwine it with some of the other stuff that you have. Give it up for. And what does that mean? Do I have to have sex with this person? Like what does give it up mean? Give it up. Yeah, what does that mean? Give it up. Well, I'm a virgin. Do I have to give it up to this next guy? Something like that. Like what? Because give it up is another one that's there's no instruction on that at all. It's like give it up. That could mean many things. And so give it up. Put your hands together. Well, hold on one second. I'm almost there. Make some noise. Wait, okay. Like we got to be very specific. What noise could just be? I don't know. I think that's not bad. Yeah. Like make some noise, give it up for, put your hands together. Like those three are very like not like very non-instructional. They're instructional, but they're like weird. Like you don't know what they mean. Yeah. If you're,
I always tell the audience
person,
give it up for this next guy, and which is give it up.
What am I giving?
Which has sexual connotations there, which has some kind of like. Thank you. They're saying Brian Scalaro keeps calling me. That's so weird. Twice in a row, he's calling me.
I'm sure he needs money.
But I don't know. But no. But wow. We should edit that out. Damn.
Oh, okay. Like I'm lying.
I didn't say you were lying. I said I didn't say nothing.
Edit that out. Brian will stalk us forever.
Oh, I'm saying that. All right. Anyway, no, but like take your left take the bottom of your left foot and bang it against your right thigh. Like they get, it's like put your hands together. How specific are we getting here that we like? I think we knew that. I'm
sure one guy was hitting his head and they're like, no. You gotta hit your hands.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Something funny like that.
Play around with the idea of. I think the three are kind of funny, and I think just.
Oh, you mean use my hands to do the applause? Okay, yeah.
I was banging my head on the table.
I was actually about to bang my elbow into my groin. Like I don't know what. Like oh wait. I who knew that I had lost. I think the audience is pretty aware of the physiological requirements of applause. What physical actions are necessary to take in order to generate applause.
However, there's always that one guy that doesn't clap. So maybe he's the guy. I think it's because you always have a guy that doesn't clap every single time I go on stage. There's 2 or 3 guys, and I usually call them out on it.
Adam, I think Adam might be fashioning some guy clapping by banging his feet together.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like, did you think I was going to blank? Put your hands together. No, did you think I was going to bang my ankles? Did you think I was going to try to scrape? Oh, that's funny. Something about, how like, was it crickets make noise by rubbing their wings together or something like that? Don't they? Something like that.
Should we see what AI has? A comedian saying,
"Oh yeah,
put your hands together for your next comic," and also maybe put in those other ones. And they always just say, "Give it up" and make some noise.
Yeah, let's see what AI says.
So do with all 3 of those things. See what it.
I don't want the show to turn into us writing with AI.
Well, this was. I put this into the comedy writing assistant for a suggested punchline. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together And the punchline is because apparently they're lonely on their own.
Oh no! See, this is this is the show again. We can make fun of AI instead of saying how great it is.
Yeah. Is there anything else? That's it?
Oh no! There's the suggested punchlines are all on the right.
Let me see. I can't.
It's
punchline. I didn't mean to start a clap, but now that you're all into it, let's bring the house. What does that mean? The joke. Oh. Because apparently the approach takes a little meaning. Put your hands together, use it to humor. No, it's a light joke, and I'm like, yeah, but this is all notes. I want jokes.
Yeah. All right, let me go to the generator.
No, dude. I like it that we're doing this. I don't think it's. I think we're not pro AI writing material. We're just breaking down why comedians or human beings are better. In the end, we're better because even if we tweak something that we feel is interesting, they weren't doing it completely right the first time. They were just giving some sort of vague idea. And that's the difference is we go in and we're snipers for detail, whereas they are not. They're very broad. They've all been, things that have been done.
It's also, like I said, it's by its very nature, it has to be derivative. And it has to scrape what's already been done. Whereas you're going to think of something that's good comedians think, if anything's been done, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, because this would be interesting. Hey, AI, come up with your own comedy premise.
And watch the thing blow up and explode, right?
But no, I want to see what AI comes up. AI come up with the perfect stand-up comedy premise for a stand-up routine, or something like that. Like what are they going to come up with? That's interesting because we're the ones coming up with all the stuff. They're not coming up with anything, and so that would be interesting.
They can't.
Well, we're going to try. I want to try that before we end the show. Just see what premise they're coming up with.
Yeah.
They'd be like, it's all these jokes. They're roasting Siri or something. It'd be really fun.
I love watching Adam's eyes light up when he sees all right, let's see what this is gonna do. This is
all
great.
Right, let's see. This is the let's put our hands together.
Yeah.
All right. So,
ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together because it's the only exercise some of us are getting these days. Let's put our hands together. It's the closest thing to a group activity for introverts. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together, and then quickly apart before someone thinks we're about to start a conga line. They say, put your hands together to show appreciation. I say, let's do it to check if we still have our wedding rings on. Let's put our hands together, not for applause, but to see who's got more wrinkles. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together because that second cup of coffee shake has kicked in. Let's put our hands together. It's the only time we agree on something without a family argument.
Okay, well,
that was pretty bad.
I'd say,
thank God that was bad.
Yeah, good Lord.
I was getting nervous because we had a couple of good AI interactions. So I was like, all right, this one needs to be bad. What a relief.
I think we can rest easy now.
Okay, well, let's do the last one just for me, for shits and giggles, please.
All right, so let me see.
We're giving it no prompt. We're letting the AI comedian come up with its own premise and see what they do. This is a showcase for the AI comedian without prompt.
Let me see. I think we go into roast mode.
Of course, because that's what comedy is right now. It started roasting us. That'd be hilarious.
Here we go. Meta humor. Humor about roasting itself.
Can you play it or no?
No, we got to put a topic in.
Oh. You can't just put comedy premise? We broke AI.
Well, we got to just put in AI comedian.
Put an AI comedian coming up with its own premise. Put that in, see what that does, and then see if it has I just want to see how AI comedian starts a set.
Right, I think.
Full comedy set. Put full comedy set.
All right, we got to. I got to redo this.
While we're waiting for AI, I think I got something here. I just realized I can do the put your hands together thing.
Yeah.
After I do the petting zoo joke.
There you go. I was thinking about that. I was gonna interject that, but I didn't know
because I say the woman comes up and says, "Why, what if there were people without arms in the audience? How do you think they would react?" Well, they wouldn't be applauding, right? They wouldn't be able to put their hands together for the next performer.
Yeah.
That's not the joke, but there's got to be a way to.
Did you ever hear my thing? I had a joke about it. I did I did a joke about what was the joke? It was about I think it was about emotional support alligator, and you can imagine sitting next to this guy. You're on Spirit Airlines. He's got a dinosaur next to you. Next thing you know, you're a pirate because you have one arm or whatever. I do it better than that, but it's like a hook joke. And then I was bringing up a comic, and then I did the joke. And then I'm bringing up the next comic, and one guy in the audience wouldn't clap, and I was like, "Come on, dude, clap it up!" He wouldn't clap, and then all of a sudden he raised a hook.
Oh, that's really funny. You still do that bit?
I do. I've done it before. It's just like it works pretty good, But then I'm always self-conscious of somebody in the audience with a hook. But I do the bit. Or the story.
Yeah, because because you can go. I just thought you need.
It would actually be really funny if a guy actually had a hook on as me telling the other part of the.
No,
hook.
but you have to say you got to get a really good. You got to get the name right. Like
I did Captain. I did. Well, then I do a thing. I felt bad, so I sent him a Captain Morgan, which is another hook. I tried to do it like that. What is it?
Right. I think Bluebeard is funnier. Bluebeard. Blue isn't he a pirate? I got Bluebeard right next to me.
Well, I did Captain Morgan's because I'm sending him a drink. I don't know. I might be saying Bluebeard. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good.
It has to kind of hold on its own of why I'm bringing it up. But
who's the guy? Who's Jack Sparrow?
Well, he doesn't have a hook. He doesn't have a hook.
I know, but nobody's gonna. Really know?
Yeah, you kind of need a hook. You can't just be like a pirate without.
You gotta have a hook.
You gotta have a hook.
You gotta have a hook.
That's funny. At the end, it's like, I know. Sorry, I did that joke, but sometimes in comedy, you have to have a hook.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
All right,
you gotta have a hook.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the AI comedian. Put your hands together. Put your hands together.
Absolute lack of pleasure to be here tonight, roasting not a man, not a woman, but a piece of code. Yes, that's right, ladies and gents. We're roasting an AI comedian, really scraping the bottom of the barrel here, aren't we? First off, let's talk about its looks. Oh, wait, it doesn't have any. Not very fair for the rest of us. At least when I tell a bad joke, I can distract the audience with my devilish good looks and irresistible charm. What's the AI's strategy? Crashing its system and hoping we all forget. But seriously, folks, an AI comedian, isn't that just another word for insult to comedy? It's like calling a car a horse. Sure, they both get you from point A to point B, but only one of them shits on the road. And it's not always the horse. And let's talk habits. This AI comedian, it doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't do drugs. It's like the world's most disappointing rock star. You know what they say, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. In this case, it's more like syntax, bugs, and jargon overload. And choices, some comedians choose their material carefully, honing their craft, pushing themselves to be the best. This AI, it just throws a bunch of words together and hopes it'll be funny. Like, hey, let's throw in a joke about a chicken, a road, and a database query. It's an AI, it doesn't need to make sense. I mean, the contradictions are just laughable. A machine built to emulate humor, that's like buying a pet rock for its companionship, or getting a cactus because you're into hugging plants. But here's the real kicker, folks. This AI, it's terribly committed to human interaction. Okay, that's right. Okay. A machine more...
We can cut it. I gave him the light.
It
was funny. It couldn't come up with its own premise. It could only come up with the premise of roasting an AI. It couldn't come up with like, hey...
The first part made me laugh. What was the first thing? They said something... Oh, did he do a joke and he didn't even know that he did a joke? Scraping the bottom of the barrel?
Yeah.
That's pretty actually semi-clever. Because that's what data scraping is. But he should have said data scraping the bottom of the barrel or data scraping the algorithm.
But it went against what I was trying to do, which was like it could just do a set. It can't just do a set without prompt. And so we are the prompts. So we are the food to this brain. And so without the food, there's no brain. So that's what I was saying. It could only make fun of AI. It couldn't be AI itself and do the jokes.
Right.
So that's So at least that, because I would have been pretty scared of it. Like it just starts doing some amazing bit. It's like you're like, what? It just opens up and starts this crusher bit in the beginning. You're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So All right. So that's so we solved that mystery that AI can't just like start from scratch and grab a microphone.
Yeah.
So that's reassuring, I guess. So it needs.
Hold on, I'm writing down something.
You write down scrape of the barrel.
No. I'm writing down. I'm trying to figure out how to say that. Yeah. I'm gonna rip that off. I'm trying to figure out how to do the don't put your hands don't put your hands together, or put your non-existent hands together, or after I do they wouldn't be applauding. They wouldn't be able to put their hands together for the next performer.
Well, that's not bad. I think you should add that into your the no arms petting zoo.
Yeah,
thing.
it's just that punchline is so strong. They wouldn't be applauding. It's a huge thing. Going back to a less funny punchline is kind of not as good.
No, but it's more of a tag than a less funny punchline. You got to think of it like that. It's more about All right. Well, that was an interesting one. Yeah. I feel very sci-fi.
Put those stumps together. Put your hooks together. Put your hooks together. A bunch of pirates. Put your Put those stump. Hold on, I'm writing that down.
Hey, don't take my pirate joke.
No. That's yours. Put those stumps together. Yeah.
Or if you don't have hands, that's kind of funny. Put your hands together. Or if you don't have hands, put your stumps together. If you don't if you don't have stumps, put your feet together. If you don't have feet, how'd you get in here? Hey-o.
Hello. Yeah, that's funny. Well, they wouldn't be applauding, right? Wouldn't be able to put those hands together, or not.
Feet together.
Yeah, all right.
It's kind of cute. It's kind of funny. I think it's more like some of these things are like, that's what people don't realize, how important comedy, how extra sometimes is good for just little moments. It's not necessarily it's not for the special. It's not for it's almost like it's just for like moments in comedy where we're trying to we're soldiers of comedy and we have to contain crowds and we got to pop moments after somebody did something or whatever. So some of this is that it's just extra kind of things that you do to kind of, just bump up kind of where you're at in the set or the beginning of the set or something.
Absolutely. It's a little connective tissue makes, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how powerful. That and it changes the entire. You can bump a joke from a 6 to a 9 with one tiny intro tweak, or it's amazing. Anyway,
comedy's amazing. All right, everybody.
Inexplicable, bewildering, and a mystery conundrum.
Maybe we should change the name of the podcast to Dustin and Brian versus AI. I think it's eventually going to morph into that's the show.
Yeah. Right. Like Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. Versus
Conquers the World, or Dustin and Chafin versus AI.
Yeah. I like
Dustin and Brian. Yeah.
The way you called yourself Chafin. I like that.
Well, folks, that's our show. It's time for us to go. Make sure to follow us. Give us a like. Drop us a comment and always subscribe. We're chasing comedy on all the socials. We hope you had a gas, had some laughs, and maybe you learned something too. Until next time, we're Brian and Dustin and we're chasing comedy.